Yes, guys. Welcome back to another episode. I am your host, Justin, and as usual, I am here with my fellow co-host, Colby. Colby, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. The Premier League is back. It's back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Liverpool.
United had a 1-0 win over Fulham. Liverpool won 2-0.
1-2-0 over Ipswich Town.
Ipswich, very nice.
Arsenal won, and Jamie Vardy's back to cracking Red Bulls at halftime, bro.
Dude, did you see him taunting the
Tottenham fans?
Tottenham fans? He was like, me 1, you 0.
Yes,
I was like,
dude.
oh, God.
He actually looks pretty good for his age. Like, I know, like, Cristiano Ronaldo's out there freaking, like, getting in his saunas and his cryo chamber, and he's doing all this, extra crap, and Jamie Vardy's literally just drinking 3 Red Bulls a day and just doesn't care.
Vards is insane. But he's always been that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's truly, dude. He's immortal. But he started late. Like, he was like 29 in 2016 or something. He was old when he won the when
he was old. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Colby. So to get this episode started, what is the iconic jersey that you're going to pick today?
Word, man.
England.
2014 England. It was a very sad World Cup.
Didn't they go out in the groups? Weren't
they
last
in
in their group?
I think that was a group where they played. I think we played Italy, and I say we. I have no English heritage, but we played Italy and Uruguay, and yeah, we lost. We lost to I think Suarez was like comforting Gerrard after that game, and then in the England versus Italy game, I want to say Balotelli scored or something, and my boy Daniel Sturridge scored, but yeah, it wasn't enough. They just
That's one where they try to like shoehorn Wayne Rooney in, and it just like didn't work.
Yeah, it was Sturridge, Rooney, Gerrard, Lampard. It was back when Joe Hart. I think what was the kid's name from Arsenal? Not a kid anymore. Jack Wilshere.
Oh, Jack Wilshere. I
Yeah.
think Dele Alli was there.
He might have been there. He might have been like a very young Dele Alli.
Or maybe Dele Alli might have been 2018.
Kane was not in the picture yet. He
Thank
was still
God.
like a one-season wonder.
Loser.
Yeah. It was an English team that was like, I don't want to say it was hodgepodge, but it was like, oh, this should work. You know?
Yeah.
Checks the boxes.
And they didn't. They were
No.
doo-doo butter.
Yeah.
That's a good choice. My choice, I think I am going to go with 2005 Liverpool.
Okay.
The UCL comeback, the Carlsberg, Reebok,
the Istanbul Miracle, bro.
Yeah,
the Istanbul Miracle.
That's a jersey.
Yeah.
And that's a crazy game. Like, I've seen that game so many times. And Stevie G, insane.
Yeah, dude, I love that old team. Like, 'cause that's just like pure heart. You know what I mean? It's like we're down, but we're not out.
Xabi Alonso.
It's the best,
dude. I don't know a lot of your players from back then, to be honest.
Yeah. To be honest with you, like, I've only seen all that from like docs and stuff. Like, really, I didn't start getting to Liverpool until like 2008, 2009. So,
but yeah, probably one of the greatest comebacks ever against one of the best AC Milan teams ever.
Yeah, I think they went back and played them again in like 2006, and then Milan ended up winning. So weird how like the Champions League is weird, man.
Yep.
Because like you'll make it, like when Liverpool made it all the way there the first time, and Ramos dislocated Mo Salah's shoulder, I was like, that was our chance. We blew it. We're never gonna get there again. And then I think it was the very next year.
Yeah,
we had this crazy road to the final and beat Tottenham. Yeah.
Well, I always say that in especially in Champions League, like the best team doesn't always win.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like the one where Madrid, this last one that not the one they just won, and then they beat Man City, and then I think they beat Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were not the best team going throughout that tournament, but like
they couldn't lose
when the chips were down.
So
yeah,
weird.
Exactly.
Yeah, so weird, dude.
The comebacks in those games were insane.
Right.
And then this last Champions League, I think they might have been the best team. They were really good.
Yeah, I missed.
But anyways,
I missed that game this weekend. That's the one I wanted to see, was Real Madrid with Mbappe there now.
Oh yeah.
I'll play.
I think they won. Did they?
Well, they might have tied. I don't know. I gotta check. Chris Rico's going to be furious.
'Cause we don't know all the Madrid stuff.
We don't know all the Madrid stuff. Yeah.
Sorry, Chris. So, again, we have a little bit of news that's come out, but nothing too crazy. So I'm going to let you lead the first topic. So let's do topics, and then we'll talk about what we've been doing this week.
All right, man. So the Copa Pure, man, it's just one of those boots. I feel like we're all kind of sitting around waiting for this Copa Pure 2 to phase out, going to the Copa Pure 3, be something completely different. But before it dies, man, they did this. They got this Made in Germany theme coming up, right? The last couple months, they did the Made in Germany Predators, and now we've got the Made in Germany Copa Pure, and it's not even the one with the knit. It's like it's like the regular one, right? Yep. And they put this like magnetic tongue. There's like a magnet where they connect, and they're calling it. Well, and they also made it completely fusion skin, like the whole upper instead of it being just the toe. And they just call it a day. They said, you know what? Got a magnet in there, made the whole thing fusion skin. All right, pay us $300 now. Thank you.
I think it looks fantastic, though.
That's an opinion.
I am not. I'm talking about just looks.
Okay.
First off, on just looks. Let's start with looks. I think it looks super clean.
Mm-hmm.
The all white base. The tongue design is not my favorite. It looks like a shield, and I know that the new Gloro has it too. So like that part I don't love. But again, the magnet thing I think is weird, but it'll probably hold a little bit better than Velcro, and it could work. Like I don't know how thick they are. So we gotta get those things out in the air. Like I get where they're going. I think doing the little Copa logo inside the 3 stripes looks super cool. The little German flag looks cool. The colorway looks cool. The sole plate looks cool. But
I like the Copa, like where it's like COPA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
what
stripes.
I'm talking about.
Like that's pretty dope. It's pretty dope.
Yeah,
like you
yeah.
said. Yeah.
But again, this is just a boot. You know what this boot's biggest problem is? It's just like why?
Made in Germany.
This is like aging me horribly, but like in Mean Girls when Gretchen Wieners keeps trying to use the word fetch and she's finally like, quit trying to make fetch happen, Gretchen. It's not gonna happen. That's how I feel with this Copa. Like Adidas like, hey, we got this Copa. It's like, dude, just stop. Just let it die. Nobody wants this boot. Nobody likes this boot. Like nobody cares about this boot.
Yes, I get you, man. To me, it's like, okay, instead of doing this whole magnet trick, okay, make the whole upper leather like you meant to do, and then cinch that effing that ankle opening, because what it did when they made that tongue was it flared out more. In JMX review, I was like, it's already got a bad lockdown. It's got really bad lockdown, and so now you're gonna like widen that out even more, and so your heel's gonna be freaking sliding all over the place. Like I don't care about like a magnet. Like it's cool to me. A little gimmicky, but still pretty cool. But just make it a better boot. Like, and then you can kind of lead with that. Going, you know how Mizuno does, like they'll almost like prototype some of. I think they prototyped their Neo line with, where they made it like really thin, and then they kind of led that into what is the It's escaping my mind right now, but like they made it like a knit version, but they had like
beta.
They had like a beta before they made it all knit. That would be cool if they did something like that with Adidas, where it's like, hey, this is our Made in Germany version, but it's almost like going to lead into what is going to be the Copa Pure 3, and instead it's like, check this out,
Yeah. This is again. It's like I get the whole Made in Germany thing. It's like fine craftsman, blah blah blah. But again, like I've said it before, I think some boots are made truly just to look at and not wear. And I think that if you just look at this boot, it looks really good. Like you'd put it if you put it on a shelf to show off, like it wouldn't stick out in a bad way. You'd be like, oh yeah, that looks clean, that looks nice. And I think that's why they did the magnets, is because it's like, yeah, it's gonna sit on a shelf, like it'll hold it, no big deal.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say it kind of looks like the Gloro, so it does get a little confusing. You know what I mean? If you're just like Joe Schmo shopper, you're like, oh, well, this Gloro is like $300. I'll just buy this one. That's $200
with a strap.
Yeah, so really hold it down.
Yeah. So again, it's just like a boot. Like who cares? Like I don't see this really selling out. if it does sell out, it'll be collectors and resellers, and I think that this is going to be one of those ones where every week we watch resellers marking it down little by little, just trying to get their money back, because I just like, again, even our friends who don't mind the Copa Pure 2, it's not like they're rushing out to go get it.
Right.
They're like, yeah, I can wear it. It's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of like the entire line is like, yeah, the Copa Pure, it's fine. And I what we've seen from the Copa Pure 3, and this is months ago now, but those like stealth, like whiteout, I think the Copa Pure 3 will go in a completely different direction than the 1 and 2 if they continue to choose the Pure name, which I think they should change it in general. I think they should name it. I think they did say they may name it the Copa Mundial something, but it's just got to be overhauled. The entire boot just needs to be overhauled. Please change your sole plate. It would be cool if they put the freaking Copa on the Sprint Frame 360 sole plate. Like, that'd be pretty cool. They won't do it.
They won't do that. They won't do that. They'll probably, they may do like a tweak of the Predator sole plate, I think. But that'd probably be the closest. But I don't even think they'll really do that. I think they'll probably keep that Nemesis line. That Nemesis sole plate, it's just like,
it's almost too narrow to me. Like, there was I'm trying to remember who was talking about this. Upper 90 football was talking about how a lot of the Nemesis sole plates, these are the torsion frame sole plates he's tried, have all been a little bit narrow, and I've kind of felt that way too.
See, maybe because I have a narrow foot, I don't have that issue. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's kind of the hard part for me, is like, I don't run into certain issues as other people do because I have such a narrow foot. I don't really know a plate that they could use that's good enough, but I don't think they're going to make something new.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll go back to like a tweaked version of the 18 and 19.
Oh, yeah. These are dirty.
You know what I mean? Which is similar to the F51, but it was round studs.
Yeah, it's
maybe they'll do something like that.
This is like the original sprint frame too. So it's
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you if you want to keep using your technology, just put it on the current models. Like, I don't understand why they can't use it on the sprint. It's like literally just the upgraded version of the sprint frame. Sprint frame 360. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I hear that. That actually makes sense now that you say it out loud. I don't know. The Copa line needs a lot of help. I think more than anything that they've done in recent history, it needs a lot of help.
Yeah, well, and it doesn't help too that the two other silos are completely dominating like the entire football market right now, and then you just have this like little redheaded stepchild of the family.
That's why we keep saying though, like, what's the point of don't keep it, keep it. You know, that's kind of how I feel with those.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you.
Well, I see something blue on your shelf that looks new.
Shoot. Yeah. Yeah, I got the finally got the Vapors.
You pulled the trigger.
AG. Yeah, in AG.
Very nice.
My thoughts, it's actually a well-fitting boot. I have a wide foot. It's honestly, it's like slipping on a sock. It's almost like I want to say it's like a thinner version of a Tequila, but when you put your foot in, it just conforms to the shape of your foot. And I still kind of get that knuckling down here in the forefoot, where it's like clearly my forefoot is too big for this frame, but it expands, and so it's nice.
Okay.
I don't mind the sole plate on feet. When I was just holding it in hand, I'm like, dude, this thing is like super flexible. Like, I could not do that with like my F50. Like, it would be like much harder to do that. But these, like, it just seems like and I know this is the AG version, but I've heard the FG version isn't much different. But the sole plate, it just seems a lot more stiff.
Okay.
On the F50, and still, like, and people say this one isn't even stiff enough. So I wonder what's going on with speed boots right now, where the sole plates and overall the fit. I think on the Football Boot Hour they were talking about how speed boots are becoming like the everyman boot.
Yeah.
So just an interesting trend. I really like these.
Okay.
There's less volume than a GX2.
Okay.
But I'd probably still prefer these.
Prefer those over the GX?
I think so, only because the GX2, the last we talked about seems like it's the GT series, and so it runs a little bit long at the toe, and my toe is like perfectly close to the end here.
Okay.
The grip knit isn't. It's not as grippy. The only times I noticed it, I was goofing around with the kids in the backyard, and I was trying to do like a elastico on my 3-year-old, poor guy, because that's the only person I can juke out. And I was like, oh, that does give it a little bit of grip, but it's not nearly as noticeable as the GX2.
Okay. So is it a keep? Is it a? I like it. It's not for me, or is it like no, this isn't good enough?
I like it. It's not for me. I definitely think if there was a vapor I would wear, it would be this one. Like,
okay.
Hands down, it's definitely this one. Like, this is definitely one of the most This is probably the most accommodating vapor I've ever tried on. I remember doing a little play test for the 15s, and I could not wait to get those boots off. Honestly, dude, like, this boot fits my foot better than the Tiempo Legend 10, which is crazy.
Did you think that the Vapor 15 was like too tight on your foot?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, because see, I don't like the way the Vapor 15 feels because it feels too loose on my foot.
That's funny.
It's similar to what issue I had with the GX2.
Yeah, I heard you almost like break James's brain because you were like, I have this is horrible lockdown, and I was like, everybody's like, what are you talking about? Yeah, which, speaking of, I know that there was issues with those first 2 models on the heel. I don't know if it's just because I have a fat foot, but I didn't really have a lot of heel slippage in these. And actually, the heel is super comfortable. It's really padded.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Do you wish you would have gotten a Superfly?
To be honest with you, I always I like the aesthetics of the high knit collar, but I never like it. Like, remember, I got these in the high knits, the women's version. And I was like, oh, that looks so good aesthetically. And I put them on, and they were tight too, but it was just like, I don't need this. Like, you put it on, you're like, I don't need that.
Yeah, no, see, I don't know what it is about the Vapor especially, or I'm sorry, the Mercurial, but I always like the Superfly aesthetically over the Vapor. I just always have. Maybe it's because I like the Superfly 4 or the Ronaldo fanboy in me, and he was always the Superfly guy. But yeah, I've always. I know they're the same boot. It's like what, a couple of inches of material, but
right.
I just aesthetically like the Superfly better.
Yeah, I mean I think you'd like this boot, man. I mentioned this to you before we started, but I think this is one I think you should definitely try. Like, if you can get a pair of these, yeah. Are you going to go for AG if you get them, or are you going to go for FG? FG?
Yeah, FG all the way. I'm not a big AG guy. I got a pair of GX1s in AG, and I think that's really it.
Yeah, but that stud pattern is so similar to the FG version. Like, these are...
Yeah, exactly.
These have more studs. I mean, I honestly don't mind it. I know a lot of people have talked about the Air Zoom technology. It's not something I noticed. I didn't play
that's what it was going to be
in them long enough to really know. But yeah, so I got to go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say, to me it reminds me of. Do you remember when Adidas was doing the boost in their insoles, and they had like the boost foam, and it was like, oh, this is super cool, but like the moment you stepped on the boost, it just like all collapsed. And you never you never not standing on it for it to reinflate. So you're like, oh, it's a cool idea, and I get why you did it, but it's like, in execution, it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about the Air Zoom. It's going to be like, this is super cool, and the moment you put any like weight on it, it like collapses, and it's like, okay, that's it.
The person who I think of, like, when I hear about like Air Zoom, I think I can't remember if he was on our podcast or he was on another podcast, but I think Noah was talking about how a lot of his buddies like these because their fields are so harsh that the Air Zoom almost gave them some kind of cushion. Do you remember him talking about this? Like on those like hard pitches? No,
I don't remember that.
Okay.
But it could have.
Okay. And he can always correct me if I'm wrong. I was like, maybe that was him that was talking about that, but yeah, I don't know if that just gave him like any extra like comfort playing on those fields. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, ultimately, dude, I still prefer the F50s, the Messi and the OG, even though they're giving me. Okay, so quick update on my
I would say
F50s.
great transition.
It was an okay transition. But quick update on my F50s.
Okay,
I
the Day
did
Sparks.
Day Sparks. So I did end up getting the Messies. Ooh, yeah, microphone.
Okay.
These are just two completely different feeling boots. Obviously, because the upper is completely different. But these Messi boots. They're just so soft, dude. And like I'm already familiar with them because of my turfs. But the hybrid touch on the FG model, I know these are a takedown.
Okay.
This is like the league, but it just seems more premium to me. The grip elements of this, they ain't doing nothing. It's about the same. All right, so if you're just coming back with us, it's 105 degrees in Texas right now, and Justin's computer in his garage overheated. And,
I think it's just like overheating, guys. I'm really sorry. And so I got a fan on it now, so I think I might start having a fucking heart attack soon. So if I die, it's been real. I love you guys.
Real. And we get to see it on camera.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. All right, man. So
okay, so this is where we were at. This is the last thing I saw.
So these are both great boots.
Okay.
I prefer the Messi. It's just more comfortable.
Okay.
In
what ways?
The upper is just so good, dude. It's just so like soft. It's like the best version of a synthetic leather you could get. I mean, everybody probably remembers the hybrid touch version of the 2014 F50.
Yeah.
And so I didn't have that boot, but I'm assuming that if it felt anything like this, it was incredible.
Yeah.
Just to sit on top of this like excellent sole plate is great. And so what I'm gonna do, I just did, basically this was my trial boot because I like the name that Justin's deemed those new Messies that are coming out, the Hulk boots. I prefer that colorway. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Like
That's
everybody, yeah. I mean that's just me. So what I end up doing so that I can make these F50s more comfortable because you've suggested it off podcast. Our guy M Burns has suggested it in the comments. What he did with his F50s was the water trick, the hot water trick. So it's basically what I did over the weekend. I have a laundry room, got a sink in there, got some hot water, submerged these for maybe like 5 to 10 minutes, washed them off, wore them around like a dork, all wet and soppy, and then I just let them sit outside and dry, and then ended up going back in the backyard playing with the kids, and they felt way more comfortable, dude. Like the upper is just so much softer and so much more conforming to my feet. Heels, blisters, still hurt, but I think that's just because I basically have like beat up my heels and they're super sensitive to whatever I put them in. So, so they're way more comfortable. And I will say this too, if you like the Messi boots, you're not going to get nearly as much help in terms of the grip. Like this sprint web and the fiber touch is like, you can run your hand on it. Like you can hear that, right?
Yeah.
Like there's just so
Ooh,
much.
the ASMR.
Yeah, I know. that's free. But here it's like you're not going to get that at all. Like it's still going to be smooth. You got like a couple lines here, but that's not going to do much.
Yeah. Okay, so for starters, what do you think about the burrito tongue? Because you're like super weird about that.
I prefer the compression, the tunnel, way more. Okay. I didn't know if I was going to like this or not. I really, dude, it just feels good. Like when my foot's in here, it's such a silly thing too, because like you look at it, it's just like little material there, but it just feels good and locked in there. And then when you pull these Messies out, you can literally just like open that thing way up. It's so weird. And then you put your foot in there and you kind of have to tuck it in.
I bet it's so easy to get your foot in and out of though.
It's so easy, which like that's why Messi likes it, I'm sure. But
yeah.
I like this.
See, it's like you need a Franken boot between the both. It's like you need everything Messy but the tunnel of the original.
Well, what's cool that's why I kind of like the turf model, because the turf model includes like a little. It's not as premium as the outdoor model, but you have like the little tongue in here. So I kind of know, I have an idea of what it would feel like, and I'm like, oh, if you could put that compression tongue like in here, I'd really really like that. The other thing too is this boot, it's not like a super thin boot. Like I have a wider foot and I can fit my foot into here, but the last on these Messies is just so much wider. Like if you can see that, it's just so much more accommodating in the forefoot.
I was gonna say the Day Sparks look like they're bowing out a lot more.
Yeah, because my fat foot.
Yeah, like your foot is warped no more.
I was nervous, man, after that hot water trick, because I know people say that you don't want to heat the glue up too much to where it splits the upper from the sole plate, but I've kind of gone over both of them, and everything seems okay.
It's okay with that. Just don't use boiling water. Like if you use like tap water hot, you're fine. Your boots won't get that hot to where you'll do any damage. But yeah, don't use like a boiling water, like a hot water, like the thing that you put them like on a hot plate, it heats the water. Like don't do that. But yeah, if you just use like hot tap water, like you're totally fine.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what I did. And I've seen some people that like they'll pour the hot water just on top of the upper, and I was like, I don't know how much that'll do. I just submerged them.
Yeah, for sure. So do you think that you will stay with the Messies? Not necessarily the gold, but do you think that's going to become your new boot? Because the Day Sparks kind of seem like you're like, I'll wear them, but I don't love them.
Have you ever? I'm sure people have had boots out there where I've been so stubborn about these, and I have been playing very well in these, so it's like I just want these to work, and so I'm trying like this and that and this and that, and so it's like I work too hard to break these in. I'm not going to give up on these bad boys.
Yeah, that's fair. I've been that way with some boots. Not anything lately, but I have done that with boots too, so I get it.
Yeah, and I know that when you and I used to get, I'm sure you've been collecting for a long time, but before I started really branching out with models where I would try to, I'd get a boot, I'd really like the way it looked aesthetically, and even if it didn't fit my foot, I'd be like, I have to wear these. These look so good. I have to wear it, I think if I had liked the Tiempo 10 more, I probably would have tried to force that, but I just said, screw it. I just went with something else.
No, yeah, that was me with actually the Vapor 9. Maybe arguably the Vapor 8. But I was going to say that earlier, but my computer was freaking out. We were talking about the Vapors, how they're the everyman Vapor and this and that. But one of my favorite Vapors is the 8, which is like the most unaccommodating like Vapor that there is. Like you have to have a super narrow foot. You have to have like a very specific foot shape and everything, or you're going to hate that boot. And luckily my boot, or that fit my foot, that boot, so I always loved it. But the Vapor 9, had like a more reinforced upper, and it was a bit stiffer, so I just think they kind of went too far. And that thing was like, that was the blister machine for me. And I was like, I'm going to chug through it, I'm going to chug through it, I'm going to chug through it. And like my big toes like just never forgave me.
Yeah. Speaking of, man, this is a good segue. They are remaking a few Vapor 1s. Like they're remaking like the original, what is it, like the black and white
black
color
with the gold on the inside.
Yeah, and then the gold on the inside, which I remember the rich kids having these, and then I don't know if they're rich, their parents just like their kids more than they like me. No, I never wanted a pair of Vapors. I wasn't good enough to pull those off because those were for very skillful players, I remember. Or players that thought they were skillful, and they're redoing the Vapor 1, the orange colorway. Maybe another one too. Do you think, okay, if we do actually get to see these, like what modifications will Nike make, like modern modifications to where they're not going to be blister machines, but they're still going to hold true to like the original Vapor ones?
They won't.
So like
Nike's going to do, they've done, how many remakes, quote unquote remakes, have they done? 2?
The only one I can remember is the CTR 360.
And then they did the T90 Laser 1 before that.
Both yellow and black boots, which is
both
weird.
Yellow and black. Yeah, that's why I think they're going to do the black and goldish colorway. But the thing was, so the T90 was all 1-to-1. It was just on the Hypervenom Phantom 3 sole plate. That was the only difference. And then the CTR 360s came out, and those were the old way. Like 1-to-1 everything. Yeah. So I feel like Nike's going to bring out the Vapor 1, and they're not going to change a single thing about it.
That would be kind of cool.
I think maybe they might change the sole plate. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, because that original one is like 2000, so it's like almost 25 years old.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would still have those old FG/SG.
There's no way.
Because that's where they just use 6 long studs. They don't have mixed studs. It's just 6 long ones. So that's what they're going to do. But if Nike does a remake, they're going to keep it. They're not going to change anything. They're no padding, nothing is going to change. That boot is going to be 1-to-1. And if they change something, my mind would literally be blown.
I wonder how many pairs are actually going to have of those. Like, because that's got to be super limited, right?
I think that they'll do it based on a year. So if it came out, what year did the original Vapor come out? 2000?
Oh, I don't know, man. The Vapor,
the R9s are 98.
The Vapor 1, I think, was 02? I don't know.
Whatever year they came out, I'm going to say that's how many pairs they'll have.
That'd be kind of cool. I think, because I just watched the Football Boot Hour, so I should know this, but I want to say they were 2000. They might be talking about 2002.
No, it might be 2002 because in between the R9s and that one, they had the match Mercurial and all that, and I think that might have been 2000. But
yeah,
if it's 2000, let's say 2002, I think that's how many pairs they're gonna have.
That'd be cool.
And they'll break them up between sizes.
Yeah, well, obviously, like I couldn't wear them. Like I can't. No. This is they had to make 16 versions before my foot actually felt accommodated. Although
I don't even think I could wear the Vapor ones. They are so terribly thin and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like Noah would cut his feet off for the review. That's how much he'll be like, no.
Yeah. Just can't. It just. I mean, especially nowadays, like everything is pretty accommodating. Like most. Yeah. I'm trying to think of a boot that. Well, they did have. What was the boot that J Mike was reviewing today? The Sokito Scudetta. Scudetto. Those he was saying that they were pretty thin, and he already has thin feet.
Yeah, I'm hyped about those. I know this is kind of like a niche brand. Like the only reason I know about this brand is because James and Andrew and I think maybe Footloose, a couple guys in the chat.
Yeah,
that we have. We're talking about it during the World Cup, and they were hyped about this boot, and they've been waiting for it. But based on, I've only watched J Mike's review. That's the only person I've seen putting a thing. It reminds me of an older F50, and I mean everybody's kind of been like in this weird limbo where they're like, I want the 2014 F50 Addy Zero, I want the 2014 F50 Addy Zero, and another brand has basically made it, and it's just like, if you really want that, it's like, this is one of those moments where I'm like, do you really want the 2014 F50, or do you just want Adidas to bring back the F50?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like honestly, like I'm really uneducated with that brand. Like you said, like I've only heard about it through friends, and I believe they're a company that's trying to go like to ultra sustainable materials. So it would be cool to try. I don't think that's the boot I should start with, but I think it does appeal, like you said, to a lot of kind of old school speed boot guys, and the price point seems really good.
Yeah,
for those as well.
Yeah, that's what. Now, see, that's where I think that they were smart too, as they're like, listen, we can't put these boots at a certain price because we just physically cannot compete with those guys, like the big brands. So I think that undercutting, especially on mostly sustainable materials, is really smart. I think the boots look pretty cool, like very minimal from what I've seen. The logo isn't ugly and doesn't get in the way, so I'm personally hyped. I think that is a boot I am going to randomly go after and try.
It is kind of cool how they nailed that first try. Skechers is over here like, guys, don't forget, we make some boots. Jeez. I heard the Razor's good though. I don't want to crap on Skechers.
Dude, I tried. I was like, I had them and I was just like, nah, I can't do it. I still can't do it.
Dude, speaking of this like everyman speed boot thing, of course, like New Balance is like perhaps like the most everyman boot, right? Like they make a version that's like wide enough for your feet, and then they make a like E version that's like all like even wider.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Since the Furon, what is it, V8? That's got to come out soon, right? I mean, maybe, hopefully before the end of the year. Hopefully we get to see it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was going to come out by the start of the season, based on that sample pair that we have seen kind of floating in the ether.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, because surely that's due for an update. The Tequila's due for an update. The 442 is definitely due for an update.
Yes. Yeah, I'll be curious to see how New Balance plays it. They really haven't deviated from like their chevron stud patterns on a lot of their Furons.
Mm-hmm.
So I would assume it would just be kind of the same. That just seems to be like their signature thing. They don't go wild like, Adidas, where they'll do like in this version they've really done a lot of conicals, and then I want to say with the speed flows in the version before that they were more chevron. So I don't see New Balance doing that though. But yeah, I'd really like to see those. I'd like to kind of see like what material they go with, because like right now, like Nike's got like, I mean, this is essentially just like a sock like boot. Mm-hmm. Versus like something that's more like, clearly like a lot of people call these plasticky, which like, a little bit. So just like more classic style speed boots. So it'll be curious to see what New Balance goes for.
Yeah, I think they'll keep tweaking their hypo knit kind of in the same way Nike did fly knit or grip knit now. Mm-hmm. I want to see my thing is like the V7 and the V7 Plus are a really extreme form of a speed boot. Mm-hmm. And I want to see if they keep iterating on that, or if they kind of wrangle it back in a little bit and they're like, okay, let's move the laces back a little bit more centrally. Let's maybe make it lighter, change certain things. But I want to see if they continue to kind of go for this like over the top kind of speed boot that they have right now.
What's cool about the Furon is that when they upgraded to the V7 Plus model, they kind of added that, I can't remember what they called it. It's like a little band that goes over like where you shoot, and it feels really good. Like, because the turf version, I believe, was 1-to-1 to the outdoor model, and it just it felt so comfortable, and it felt like it was just so nice to strike a ball.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can keep that element in there, but who knows?
Yeah, that would be nice. I like to see New Balance kind of keep hitting it out of the park in their own way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then hopefully the new future is good eventually.
Yeah. No.
It won't be. Colby, did you have anything else that you want to update the people on?
No, man. The only update I want to make is that I feel like I'm like, I've got all the boots here today. I love these boots. For all those of you that recommended me the messy version of the F50s, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and purchase the white and purple ones when they come out. So I'm very excited for that.
Hulk smash, baby. For me, no real updates. I wore the Roteros this past week. No subs. It was 100 and something degrees. I've got heel blisters too, so I am nursing those. Other than that, that's really it update wise for me. Nothing too fun.
Yeah.
But
all right, man.
Colby, before we get out of here, man, I need you to tell the people where they can find you.
You guys can find me at Kidding with Colbs on YouTube and on Instagram, where I'll post in 2025.
You can find me at Texas Cleat Collector on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. You can find us at Bootcast Pod on Instagram. And I think that's it. Colby's about to go work some space wizardry on this video and edit it so it looks great for you guys.
Yeah, after your computer melted,
Jesus,
we have to pick up the pieces.
I feel so bad. I'm like, I need to get this thing inside. Like, it's screaming at me. But with that, short episode. Hopefully we'll have some really awesome news for you guys next week. Until then, take care.
All right. Bye, guys.